Philadelphia's latest debacle was, on one hand, nothing new, yet on the other, more devastating than any to come before. Because the offense finally showed a hint of competence, just as Jalen Hurts delivered his worst performance maybe his entire career. Oh, and A.J. Brown did something he hasn't done in over 2 seasons that absolutely sunk the Birds. Plus, what the defense said after doing literally everything they could to win that game, well, the 2023 comparisons are now even more relevant today than ever before. I'm Thomas Mott, heartbroken. This is the Thomas Mott Show. I honestly have no clue how to put Monday night's loss to the Chargers into words. Philadelphia now has a huge blown lead to the Dallas Cowboys, followed up by a complete manhandling by the Bears, and then last night followed up by an ugly back-and-forth game that at times was arguably some of their best football this season, only to get thrown away right when our hopes were at its highest. While the vibes post-game were honestly very promising, the current state of the 2025 Eagles could not be more disheartening. Oh, and the Vibes Bunny, yeah, his run, it's completely over before it even started, as Monday night had a lot of problems, but one man, truly just one person, was really to blame for all of them. First though, yes, I'm devastated, and also, you'll see, I'm exhausted, but it's not going to stop me from doing a show today and doing a giveaway, which might be my most unique one maybe of the entire year. As the guys at To The House Collectibles gave me this hand-painted Saquon Barkley statue, which is fantastic, and to win it, just drop a like, be subscribed, leave any comment giving me your thoughts on the Birds down below. This thing is perfect for your office, for your man cave, would look great on your desk. I absolutely love it. And they also gave me 10% off. I'll link the code down below. And of course, the website, you want to grab one yourself. A super unique piece. It's going to make a great gift. And one of you guys is going to win it. Now, for weeks, I've started every single recap show blaming Kevin Patullo and the offensive play calling for the sins of Philadelphia. And listen, Monday night was not perfect, as we'll see, by any means. But there's no way I can pretend like that loss was even remotely on Kevin Patullo. In fact, I thought the play calling was maybe the most unique we've seen all season. Again, it's not saying much, not like they magically were Ben Johnson's offense, but over the middle shots look good, the rushing attack way more balanced, and most importantly, they actually moved the football. Philadelphia in that game, they had just 2 3-and-outs. They were averaging like 6 or 7 the entire season, and they only had 6 penalties, and most of them, well, every single penalty is devastating, were not pre-snap penalties. They cleaned up 2 of their biggest problems, and yet the rest of it, I don't even know what to say. I guess some of the credit can go to Nick Sirianni, maybe. I mean, he said he was more involved in the offensive meetings this week, which we'll never know if that made an impact for sure. But just a little side note here, A.J. Brown did say, when asked post-game, yes, Nick Sirianni made a difference.
Yeah, I do. It still comes down to executing, regardless if he's involved or he's not involved. It comes down to executing and finishing drives, and multiple times early on in the game, we didn't do that. And so, but at times we got it going, and like I said, just executing these drives and finishing these drives.
But again, it's not like Philadelphia's offense magically looked like the Rams or the Bears. It was still tough sledding for the majority of the game, but based on last week versus the Bears, it looks slightly better. And the problem is, when it looks slightly better, Jalen Hurts then took a nosedive and looked absolutely terrible. You guys know me. I'm a Jalen Hurts supporter. It's very hard not to be after what he did in 2024, especially in that Super Bowl. But Monday night, that loss goes squarely on him, as those 5 total turnovers were basically all his fault, and there's no way I can even remotely come on here and try and defend these. I mean, the majority of his turnovers came when they were on the Chargers side of the football. They were moving the ball well, they were driving for points, and Jalen Hurts cost them.
I didn't play enough. I didn't play well enough. Too many turnovers. Lots of opportunities, especially when we get on the other side of the 50. And I wasn't able to, get us in the box.
And of course, none were worse than the last one that sealed the game. Philadelphia literally had 2 perfect plays right before this throw. They were moving the football down the field. They were looking competent. And then 1st and 10, the ball's at the 17-yard line, Jalen. You do not have to press. And then he decides to backpedal and throw off his back foot into tight coverage. And what do you know? It's intercepted once again, making for one historically horrific performance from QB1 to close out the night.
I knew it was going to be a tight window throw. I'd have to watch the film to see it from the eyes, film's point of view. Ultimately, it's a play that I didn't make. He got a hand on the ball, and I didn't make the play.
There is no defending Jalen Hurts today. There's no way to do it. He was awful. If he doesn't make those interceptions, this game is different. And yet, at the same time, we have to at least acknowledge the 2 truths. He did make some good throws in this game, made a lot of bad ones. They did have a chance to win in the end. I mean, for instance, I can think of 3 throws that would have changed the game had they been caught. All went to the same wide receiver. The drop over the middle, for sure, took points off the board. I mean, this is terrible. And then an absolute dime by Jalen Hurts right into A.J. Brown's hands for what should have been the game winner.
We've been setting things up all game, and he made a play, man. That one hurt me. I'm more than capable of making those plays. Jalen trusts me in any situation. I made some plays, but I wasn't great when it mattered.
That's again some uncharacteristic stuff. I don't know if AJ's had a drop in the last 2 years. Just had an uncharacteristic one today. I don't know if how many the stat sheet said he had, but a little uncharacteristic there.
A.J. Brown's 3 drops against the Chargers were not only his most ever in a game, but his first drop in a regular season game since 2023, which I think, unfortunately, is a number all of us are thinking a lot about on a Tuesday morning. Also, I want to give a really quick shout out to the sponsor of this video, Averon Active. I made a personal goal about a month ago when my wife and I had our very first baby, little baby girl, to start working with brands who helped make our busy lives, which are crazy right now, just a little bit easier. And this smart rower from Averon Active is literally the perfect example. Because if you're a parent and had a newborn baby, at one point, most of you guys do, you understand that getting in the car in the morning, driving to the gym, having an hour-long workout, driving back in traffic, it's not really possible right now with a 30-day-old baby. So instead, right now, most of my workouts are taking place right from my home inside my garage. Now, the rower itself, let me tell you, it's the most comfortable one I have ever tried. Like the seat and foot pads, they adjust super easily. It's low impact, but still it's 86% of your muscles. And the resistance, key factor here, goes up high enough that I can actually use it for strength work as well. Plus, the design is compact. It stands right up. It's not too heavy. It's super easy. Just pop it right up there. Easy storage. And that is massive for my small garage. And of course, with Averon, there's a ton of variety as well. Some days I'll hop into a coach class, or other times I'll race through one of their scenic worlds, or even compete against my pastimes with their time machine feature. It keeps me engaged instead of just sitting there and zoning out, and the community side is really fun. Like you can race against friends, jump into group workouts, and climb the leaderboards for just a little bit of friendly competition. And Averon, it's not just a rower, they also have a gamified treadmill and bike if you want to switch things up. And right now, Averon is having their best prices of literally the entire year. You can get an additional $50 off. Use my promo code MOTT50 with the link down below in my description box, or scan the QR code somewhere over here on the screen. Check out Averon, whether you have a baby or not. If you want to work out at home, I'm telling you, this rower, it's absolutely incredible. And yet, despite all of that, the serial optimist in me at least liked, and again, this is a very, very, very small consolation prize, I liked the way they defended each other post-game. I thought this was the best post-game performance at the podium that even matters after a loss. They took a lot of accountability all around.
That was just gonna be another tough one, I'm more than capable to make that grab for him. Like Jalen he stepped up in the pocket, he under pressure, So like I said, I'm more than capable of making that one for him, man. That one hurt, but.
Where's your confidence level in Jalen right now?
High. I mean, I don't really, I don't know what the numbers were. In my opinion, like when we got the ball back in overtime, and I got Jalen Hurts in my quarterback, I have all the confidence that we're going to win that football game. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
This game is the ultimate team game, so it's never just on one person. Now, ultimately, he always has the ball in his hands, and I know he'll wear a lot of that and own that, and I got to do a better job of helping him in those scenarios. Again, it's never just on execution, right?
Now, of course, I read all of your comments last night. I'm going to read them all in this video, and I know what you're going to say. Bench Jalen Hurts, fire Kevin Patullo, do something to change this offense, start Tanner McKee. And while, come on, all of us would be very curious to see what the offense would look like with, Tanner McKee, let's just be honest here. It's not going to happen. And I'm not going to try and pretend to go on this crusade to say, oh, well, we got to bench Jalen Hurts, because it's not going to happen. They're not going to bench Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is their quarterback. They paid him a bunch of money to do so. He's an MVP caliber because he won an MVP last year, Super Bowl winner. And yet, at the same time, it can all be true that he was terrible last night, and there's no defending it. And if he's not going to get better the rest of the way, Philadelphia is in for a very long rest of the month and a very long offseason. And I think that truly leads into the most frustrating aspect of the entire night, is that Philadelphia had all of those mistakes, and yet still had a chance to beat a very good Charger team in overtime. Like, yeah, that doesn't help anything. There's no consolation for that. This was the first game, maybe the entire year, where Saquon Barkley looked the most like vintage 2024 Saquon. The Birds running back had 20 carries for a $122 and a beautifully designed touchdown on a fake tush push to boot.
I think we had our moments. I gotta go back and watch the film and see, what we did well and what we didn't. Last time, I was like, I'm in a funk, and I went back and watched Dallas, and It wasn't. You watch the film and it's like okay, and you talk to your coach. So I'm gonna wait till I go back and watch the film. But I feel like we had our moments. We just weren't consistent.
Yeah, we did some good stuff and it just wasn't consistent. And I think that's kind of been on par a little bit, just not consistent enough on offense and hurting the defense.
And I honestly echo Cam Jurgens there when he says they did some good stuff, but it was inconsistent. For example, once again, the runs out of shotgun alone averaged 2.2 yards per rush, versus the runs from under center, which averaged 8.8. Despite these numbers, Philadelphia still ran 51 plays out of shotgun versus just 15 under center. Again, not blaming Kevin Patullo today, but that's still a major problem. And yet me sitting here trying to tell you that because the offense looks slightly better than its normal complete garbage is actually more depressing than if they just looked garbage the entire evening. Plus, if you thought the bright spots on offense were completely destroyed by the turnovers, ruining the evening, let me remind you that Philadelphia's defense might have had their best game of the entire season, and it was completely wasted by Jalen Hurts and the Bird offense. There are very few positives this morning, but one of the big ones was the fact that Philadelphia's defense was back to its normal dominant ways on Monday night. I mean, that might have been their best performance of the entire season, literally 1 week removed from being steamrolled by the Chicago Bears, as the Jalen Carter-less defensive line had Justin Herbert in absolute hell, creating 7 sacks and forcing multiple key turnovers. Despite Herbert padding his rushing stats late, that was rough, Marion Hampton and the vaunted Chargers rushing attack was pretty much the entire night held in check.
No, a loss is a loss, man. Whether you lose by 100 or by 1 in overtime, a loss is a loss. It hurts just the same. You don't want to lose. We spend a lot of time, a lot of hours. This is like what we do. This is our job. A lot of people we're blessed to do it, but this is something we take real serious. So a loss is a loss.
The Chargers' leading receiver, not named running back Fidel's 1 catch for 60 yards, was actually Keenan Allen, but just 3 catches for 22 yards the entire night. So Dory Jackson and really Cooper DeJean played lights out against LA. Even Marcus Epps, talked about him on Saturday, showcased really a masterclass for his first start at safety the entire season. He looked fantastic. I mean, Philadelphia's defense, just to show how good they have been despite the offensive struggles, have played 74, 87, and 74 snaps the last 3 games, which is about 55 more snaps over the league average. Yet despite that, they're still maintaining a top 10 EPA. Like, this unit has to be completely gassed, yet is still playing top 10 football. Sure, Vic Fangio's unit has had some games this year that make you want to scratch your head and go crazy. The Bears game, again, terrible. Yet the overall mean of this season has been a defense that I think right now is playing better than maybe they did at their best point in 2025, minus the Super Bowl. With pressures and pass coverage clearly better in my opinion, which again makes the loss like Monday night look even more horrific and more depressing than it had ever been.
That one stinks. I think at the end of the day, we had some turnovers in this game, uncharacteristic of ourselves.
Yeah, that one sting. We know we gotta be better. We continue to beat ourselves and not doing the little things right, not focus on the details. But last year was last year, like we keep saying, and now we just gotta move on.
Philadelphia, honestly, I've said this for weeks though, now is a choice. Like, this loss will either emulate the 2023 Monday night West Coast loss to the Seahawks that was absolutely brutal, where they then turned around and did the exact same thing the following week against a much worse opponent in the Cardinals at home that essentially sealed that season. The likelihood of that is honestly very real. The 2023 comparisons are right there for the taking as they now leave the West Coast, brutal Monday night loss, and take on a very bad Las Vegas Raiders team on Sunday at the Link. And the other option is use this as fuel, which, would be nice. I would love for them to use this as fuel. And I actually thought post-game they had some good answers trying to convince us that they want to use this as fuel. But this is par for the course. They've lost 3 in a row now. They should have used the Cowboy game as fuel. They should have used the Bear game as fuel. They should have used this game as fuel. Will they? We'll see. But they're talking a big game. I just don't know if it's going to matter.
I know there's definitely something that he want back. There's something that we all want back. It's something that we'll all learn from and be better from. I think that's, in hindsight, what's great about this opportunity is to find out what's really inside and go back to work, band together, and respond.
Washing this out real quick. We got a long flight and a day off to let our body recover, and we got to get ready right back to the Raiders. And that's a mindset we got to have.
Like, that was a tough game, games like this happen, come about, but, the confidence and the trust, we come together, and that's what matters here. And that starts in the week, that starts each and every day. We looking at the film and correcting and trying to get better.
I feel like we should win every game, but that's why You got to play the game of football. We made some mistakes on the defensive end that we need to clean up. So we got to go in, especially BG. BG taught me how to attack the losses. So we got to get back in and make up for our mistakes. They scored, I don't know, more than we scored, and that hurts.
And all of this gets even worse because the simple fact of the matter is Philadelphia's remaining 4 games are technically as cupcake as they come. The Bills are the lone team with over 3 wins. The Cowboys' loss on Thursday night gives them plenty of padding going forward. This team's probably going to make the playoffs. And yet it doesn't matter. I said it last night on the stream. I mean, I was so distraught on that stream last night after the game. I barely said anything, which is my fault. I should have been better. I mean, I was just completely devastated and also exhausted. I just don't think it's going to matter. I mean, honestly, I think Philadelphia is going to make the playoffs. They're going to beat the Raiders. They're probably going to win out. Maybe they lose to Buffalo. They should win 3 of their next 4, right? Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter. I think they're going to be the 3 or the 4 seed. They're going to host a home playoff game. And unless they magically play, the Panthers, they're probably going to lose that game. And I want it to be different. I really do. I think that this defense deserves everything they possibly could have. They're championship caliber. They could win a Super Bowl with this defensive alone. I'm just not buying into the fact that they can turn things around. It's too late. It really is too late. And whether you want to blame Jalen Hurts, Kevin Patullo, Nick Sirianni, anybody, A.J. Brown last night, it doesn't matter. They have had 14 weeks to look competent for 4 quarters. They've been unable to do so. And this is what we have. And while I will never abandon, because obviously I have this channel and I'm, an optimist. I want them to win these football games. I want them to win out. I want them to prove me wrong. And I want to look back on this clip right here at the end of today's show and go, wow, he said they'd be one and done and they're in the NFC title game. Just don't have the confidence anymore. And I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it to you guys and say, well, everything's technically okay. I don't think it's going to be. I think Philadelphia's in big trouble. And we're going to find out the last couple of months or last couple of weeks of the NFL season what kind of football team they want to be remembered as. And I think, fortunately, it's going to be just like 2023. Now, I did make a promise on Saturday's show. If it got 70,000 views, I'd give away another one of the Birds hoodies, which I'll link down below. And so it did. And I randomly selected one subscriber who commented his score prediction. That was Haroon Zaman. I'll link it all down below. 6482. Haroon, you won. Send me an email down below. Always watch out for scammers. I'm never going to reply to a comment and say you won. But send me an email, prove it's you. I'll get that sent out as well. And of course, get in on the giveaway here. This is really unique, and it would look great on your desk, and I got one of these to go ahead and give away. If you want to pick one up as well, I'll link it with my discount code down below. But super pumped to keep this one. This is mine, but we'll send you guys another one after today's show. I'm Thomas Mott. Don't know what else to say. Brutal loss. I'll read the comments, see what you guys think. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.